Michelangelo's forgotten Renaissance masterpiece. When people think of Michelangelo, the iconic David usually comes rushing to mind. It's that towering marble triumph that dominates the conversation about Renaissance genius. But there's another work that even the most dedicated art lovers often overlook: a small crucifix carved in old wood and housed in Florence's Santo Spirito church. The New York Times calls this piece one of the best decisions you can make on an art-journeying life. At the time he crafted the crucifix, Michelangelo was barely 18. This was before he slid his hand into the stone that would become the David, or before the Great Sistine Chapel ceiling. The choice, in a city swarming with masterpieces, to sculpt a modest wooden crucifix on a church wall speaks volumes about the young artist's resolve and eager curiosity. The work is tender and intimate, almost vulnerable representation of Christ that appears to break from the more heroic styles that dominate the period. Santo Spirito itself is a quiet parish church, tucked away from the bustling tourist spots of Florence. Its narthex and side chapels have survived for centuries, but it is the crucifix that has entered the quiet conversation of Renaissance art. Attendees of the church describe the piece as deeply human. The wooden figure is carved with such detail on the face and hands that you can almost feel the weight of the linen cloth draped over the body. The wood grain is visible, and the soft lines give it a sense of fragility that is strikingly different from the marble and stucco that dominated much of Michelangelo's early career. The Times article urges visitors who have grown tired of the usual David route to venture across Florence again. The crucifix is not as widely publicized, but its inclusion in a city that is finite in its own right, an artist's compass for a city that has produced such genius, decidedly rewards those who seek a more personal, intimate encounter with Renaissance art. Why ask the audience to pay attention? The crucifix reveals a side of Michelangelo that is not usually evoked. It shows a youth who was willing to devote his skill to a humble devotional object rather than to succumb to the pressure of monumentality. The Times is reminding us that the genius of a master can be experienced in the small things. While David stands tall, representing the apex of Renaissance beauty, the crucifix serves as a counterpoint, a reminder of humility, devotion, and the potential depth in the simplest of materials. So if you find yourself wandering Florence's crowded streets and weary from chasing the grand narratives of the past, remember the quiet corner of Santo Spirito. Take time to view Michelangelo's small crucifix before you exit. Let the minute details talk to you in silence, and let them be a reminder that even a celebrated artist can create beauty in the most unassuming settings. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time for another journey through history's hidden treasures.